You know, Mr. Rhythm is such a marvelous creature, I almost have the feeling he should have his own microphone, I think. But Daryl and Donna Wallen are here with us. They brought Mr. Rhythm from where, Daryl?
Sedalia, Missouri.
And he is a marvelous animal. What kind?
He's a registered American saddlebred. He's 10 years old, and he stands 16'3", weighs about 1,185 pounds.
Now, to me, and I'm not that much of a horseman, he looks like a big horse. He's unusually large, isn't
Well,
he?
he is, yes. He's a large horse.
You call him an athlete.
He really is. He's in superb condition physically.
And his temperament is magnificent. You know, you have the tendency to say he has almost human-like qualities. I'd say perhaps he exceeds human qualities.
In some respects, he does. He can anticipate and figure things out ahead of me.
We have about 4 minutes or so. Daryl, if you want to just go ahead. I understand that all you have to do is give him 1 minute at the end, and he'll wind up the act. In the meantime, Donna's going to tell me about Mr. Rhythm and what he's doing and seeing. Why don't we step over here and let Mr. Rhythm do his thing. Donna, he is a marvelously tempered horse, isn't he?
Right, he is. He's really easygoing.
You know, I asked Daryl, would this bother him? Would that bother him?
No,
Nothing.
nothing bothers him. He likes it.
He works inside a lot, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Capitol buildings.
Yes, I saw a
rotundas.
couple of governors riding him,
Right.
pictures of a couple of governors riding him. And, yes, right into the head areas or the lobby areas of hotels and so forth.
He's
Now-
doing hesitation march right now. Called hesitation.
Okay, now most of the things he does, of course, are highly unnatural for a horse, right?
Right, But he's pretty natural to do it. He likes to do it. A lot of horses. you
Daryl
have
tells
to
me
try.
he's an easy learner, and
Right.
you can't train just any horse to do that.
No, he's
Well,
tried to train
let's
11.
not wave at the camera there because the horse is trying to do his thing here, and we'll take pictures of you later on, okay?
He's
Let Mr. Rhythm have center stage for a few minutes here.
He's doing a march backwards, which most horses can't do.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now, Mr. Rhythm is going to be performing at the horse show, I understand, every night?
Right, every night, and in the afternoon performances also.
Okay, and that doesn't start today, however, does it?
No, just jumpers today, so it'll be starting Wednesday or Friday afternoon.
You know, it's so remarkable to see him just in such superb control, and of course, this is an unusual. We have there we go.
I have to take us out.
All right, Donna's going to bring some other gear out here. We have about 2.5 minutes left for Mr. Rhythm to show us his thing. I understand in the show he does a number of other things as well. Is
Right,
that
he he can do 53 tricks.
Look
and
at
dance
that.
steps. But in the show he does quite a few.
Look at that. You know, Mr. Rhythm came over here in his own home, his own traveling home, and it kind of surprised some people because it's a very big traveling home, a little difficult to get through the streets here at the
Really?
fair
Yeah.
right now. But you treat him very much as a member of your family, don't
yeah,
you?
he is. He's the head part, really. That's what he thinks.
And it's interesting, he responds like that,
Mm-hmm.
too. Mr. Rhythm, you
got
have
all
about
figured
2
out.
minutes left.
It's gone lame now.
In the show, I understand he has, it says here he has 53 different dance steps, right?
Right,
And
There's
he
a
does.
lot of things that he doesn't do in the show, but he can do. He never gets mixed up. You know, you can make him do anything at any time. He's not routine, like a lot of horses are used to doing routines. There's his
Oh,
hind leg walk. He sets a record on walking on his hind legs.
Oh, boy. I tell you, he looks even bigger,
Bigger
folks,
up there, yeah.
when he's standing on his hind legs out here. I saw a picture of him, too, Donna, with the hula skirt.
Right. Now, he doesn't put that on him here. He does the hula without the skirt now.
I see. Ah, yes, and see, he does his bow just kind of automatically. Daryl tells me that he's 1 minute left. Daryl tells me that he is quite a ham. He just
Right,
loves,
yeah.
when he hears that applause, he just loves to respond, huh?
Yeah, he likes it. Nothing bothers him, though. So, you know, he's eating grass.
Isn't that something? Well, you know, the other day we said that for Mr. Rhythm, what a beautiful creature, and of course he will be at the horse show, and that's every night starting tonight, Daryl?
Starting tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
The entire fair.
Okay, that's a treat that you just can't miss. Daryl, Donna, Mr. Rhythm, thank you very much for being with us, and we'll be back with a fiddling contest in just a moment. Don't go away.
Thank you for having us here.
Coming up on September 3rd, there's going to be a big fiddle contest out here at the State Fair. We're going to meet some of those participants in just a moment, but let's first hear some music from them. What an impressive ending. Mary Duchesne, why don't you step down here and introduce us to the other fiddlers that are participating in the contest with you?
Okay, my name is Mary Duchesne, and over here is Bruce Jager, the blonde fellow here, plays with Buckaker, and the other fiddler is Mike Hildebrand, who's a medical student.
That's an awful big fiddler in the back there.
That's a big fiddle. That's Sean Blackburn is backing us up on the guitar, so we all can stay together.
I like the hats, guys. They look good. They're right for the mood. Now, I said the competition was Sunday, September 3rd. Is that right?
That's right. Sunday, September 3rd at Heritage Square at 2 o'clock.
How many participants,
Well,
Mary?
so far I think they have 30 or 35 registered fiddlers that are going to play. And a lot of them are youngsters in the under 18 category, and some of them are really old. There's an 81-year-old woman and an 86-year-old man that are going to play.
How do they judge it? By originality? By good picking?
Well,
how do they know?
They use categories like intonation and tone quality, rhythm, and the feeling for the music. They call it a old-time fiddling style, or something like that.
Okay, well, I want everyone to hear another number. What are we going to hear now?
Okay, we'll play another good old hoedown piece that you'll doubtless hear.
A lot
at
of
the contest.
yahoos out here. Can we do that while you're playing?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, do a little
Thank you
dancing.
very much, Mary
It's
Duchesne.
called Ragtime Annie.
Okay, September 3rd, the fiddle competition at the that I have a black mic and a black poodle.
Oh, isn't that a pretty animal? That is Fanny, a miniature gray poodle, and she is here at the Minnesota State Fair. Elizabeth Glick owns Fanny, and I understand she's a prize winner, huh?
Yes.
What has she won?
Well, she has her championship, breed championship in Canada, and she has 26 points against her obedience championship in the States and 11 points against her breed championship.
She's a beauty, and she is a gray miniature poodle.
Miniature poodle.
And I understand there are lots of dogs on display here at the Minnesota State Fair, aren't
Yes.
there? Of all breeds. And incidentally, it's just to the west of the grandstand bleachers, just on the other side of the grandstand from where we are right now, the dog exhibition hall. Actually, I understand, Tom, that they have, you can ask this question.
All right.
I understand they're going to have different breeds every day, though, I think.
Yeah, there's a breed club featured every day, and there's 3 obedience clubs that also have days at the Minnesota Purebred Building.
Now, Melody is a standard poodle, right, Tom?
Yes.
What do you look for when she's being judged in competition? What are the judges looking for?
It depends on if it's breed or obedience.
I see.
In obedience, they judge on conformation, or in breed, they judge on conformation, and in obedience, they judge on performance.
She a good performer?
Fair.
Well, she's just a beautiful dog. I bet she enjoys being groomed, doesn't she?
She loves it. She hams it up like crazy.
I know my dog feels about 10 feet tall every time I give him a good brushing.
I wonder, Tom and Elizabeth, is there any way we can have them turn this way so we can get a good shot of them of the camera other than head on? Maybe just turn sideways there. There, yeah, that's terrific. Super.
We've had some beautiful
That's
animals
good.
on
We
the
sure
show today,
have.
haven't we?
And tomorrow we're going to have animals from the children's barnyard, and of course that's always a favorite spot at the Minnesota State Fair.
We appreciate all the work that the 4-H'ers do with their animals over there, too.
4-H, the FFA, of course, is the children's barnyard. 4-H is very prominently represented here, too. Any number of organizations, both farm and urban-oriented. So it's a great time at the Minnesota State Fair. We thank you for being with us as we began our 12 days, and we'll see you tomorrow right here.
Right here. I hope the weather holds up.
I'm sure it will. Stick around now for As the World Turns.
As we mentioned earlier, it is Kids' Day out at the fair, so it's only appropriate that from the children's barnyard we have a kid with us today. Does this kid have a name yet?
No, not really.
What is your name?
I'm Kevin Christensen from Motley.
You're a member of the Future Farmers of America. Is it all Future Farmers of America who run the children's barnyard, Kevin?
Yes, it is. There's 5 of us that run for the first 6 days, and then there's 5 that run for the second 6 days.
Okay, we're not going to give out the ages of these animals yet because we're going to have a little contest in just a minute with some of the children that are out here watching Midday today. Who is this little friend?
This is my bunny rabbit.
Your bunny rabbit. What is your name?
My name's Dave Halls, and I'm from Jeffers, Minnesota.
Do you live on a farm, Dave?
Yeah, I do.
So you've had a lot of experience with raising animals then?
A lot of experience, especially with rabbits, too.
Do you raise them at home yourself?
Yeah, we raised a few a couple years ago.
Okay, he's so cute. And Don, can you imagine an animal being able to sleep through all of this? Who is your friend?
My friend Sweet Pea. It's a little lamb, and I'm Laura Nelson from Wadena.
Lord, have you ever raised lambs before?
Yes, I have.
So this taking care of Sweet Pea this week is nothing new for you.
No, it's not.
Does Sweet Pea have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, Sweet Pea has another brother in the barnyard.
Do these animals, are they from different farms across the state? Do they come here just for the state fair then?
Yes, they are. They're donated by people, and then after the fair, they take them back home.
Well, that's kind of exciting. You know, I said earlier we're not going to give out the ages of these animals because I found 2 of our friends in the studio audience, and we're going to see if one of them can guess which of these 3 animals is the youngest. Okay, what's your name, first of all?
Todd Quiggle.
Todd, where are you from?
I'm Coon Rapids.
You having a good time out at the fair?
Yeah.
Okay, now between Sweet Pea and Billy the Kid and, what was the rabbit's name?
Shivers.
Shivers. Which one do you think is the youngest?
I think Shivers is.
Okay, approximately how old would you say Shivers was?
Shivers looks about 5 months old.
5 months old, okay. What is your name?
Christine Bracewell.
And Chris, where are you from?
Ogilvie, Minnesota.
Which of the 3 animals do you think is the youngest one?
The same.
Well, now, how can we pick a winner if you both agree that it's the rabbit? Well, let's see. Are they right?
Nope.
Aha, the rabbit isn't. How old is the rabbit before we tell him which one is the youngest?
The rabbit's about 6 weeks old.
6 weeks old. Is Sweet Pea the youngest?
Yes, she is. Yes.
See, now, I just guessed. I guess I'm the winner then, huh?
He's a week and a half.
Just a week and a half old. Is that why he's so sleepy today?
Oh, he's been petted an awful lot, and I think he's just tired.
And how old is Billy the kid?
About a month old.
About a month old. Are all these animals, can they be petted and touched by the children as they go through the barnyard?
Yes, they can. There's 5 of us that work in the barnyard. We have blue jackets like these on, and then you can just ask us, and we'll bring them up to you and pet them.
And what are the hours for the barnyard?
9 in the morning till 9 at night.
Okay, stop by the Children's Barnyard. I want to thank all of our friends and all of our friends behind us today for taking care of the animals with us. Bill has another kind of an animal in the studio. Sort of, I guess it's a boa constrictor, am I wrong? But first we're going to go to a commercial break.
At the Minnesota State Fair, it's Children's Day. Bob Doerr and I have been friends for a long time, and for all of those years, he has tried to talk people into thinking differently about snakes. Snakes are animals that have kind of a bad rap against them, don't they, Bob?
Yeah, for thousands of years, right.
This one happens to be what kind of a snake?
This is a South American boa constrictor.
You know, it's interesting, as you walked in the back of the studio here to come in, people were ducking all over the place and so forth. This animal is not likely to hurt anybody at all, is he?
Yeah, I won't say he'll never bite, but it'd be unusual because it is a pet. It's from St. Paul Park High School. I get most of my animals from friends. This one in particular lives at St. Paul Park Junior High all the time.
It is a constrictor, therefore, though it does have biting equipment, it doesn't use it the way a rattlesnake or some snake like that would use it, do they?
No, he'll grab a rat, that's his main food, and squeeze it till it's dead and then swallow it whole. Very clean, simple, neat, you know.
Now, he is wrapped around your neck, a fact that would scare a lot of people. Is there any danger?
Not at all, not at all. And a lot of people think they're dirty, filthy, slimy creatures, and in reality, this is the cleanest animal you could ever hold or, you know, have around because they're absolutely dry, clean. They look wet because they're like shined up leather.
You know, it's interesting. I like snakes. In my family, everyone in my family loves animals, but it takes a while for some people to get used to that, even though they want to like animals. I've tried for so many years to describe what a snake feels like. It's hard to do, but I guess it's a little as though, they were vinyl or something like that, right?
Very clean, very smooth, like a piece of polished plastic, or a lot of kids say it feels like rubber, you know. Well.
Now, you have several snakes out here at the fair. You're right across from the dairy building, easy to find, and, of course, right in the front of your exhibit, there is a large snake. What kind of animals do you have at your exhibit?
Oh, everything from parrots down to iguanas and tarantulas and 14-foot pythons. It's quite a collection, and it's different every year. And I set it up mainly 10 years ago to sort of put up something that people could come in and see safely. And it's something different every year, and something where the snake wasn't presented as a man-eater and a horrible creature, you know, a scary thing.
So you can go in all safety, take a look at these creatures. This one, that tongue that is flicking out so sensitively right now, a lot of people are afraid of that, but that's how he sees and feels his world around him, isn't it?
Right, it's not a stinger or anything, and this particular snake happens to be hungry. He's due for a feeding. He'll get a couple of rats probably tonight.
Frozen?
Thawed out.
Thawed out, right. So there's no sensationalistic display in your booth at that time of feeding. He will just be eating.
No, not at all. In fact, I tried feeding the snakes once in front of the public, and quite a few people complained because they thought it was horrible throwing in that cute little rat to that horrible snake. You know, and so we have to do it at night when our doors are closed.
Well, lots of animals. Bob Doerr, across from the dairy building at the State Fair. We're going to talk about a medicine show in just a moment, an old-fashioned medicine show.
Dr. Don is just giving me my bottle of Wizard Oil. He's part of the Wizard Oil Medicine Show. And where are you performing out at the fair?
We're performing in Heritage Square every day at 11 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, and 7 at night.
Okay, and I know you've been just completed a tour all across the state. That must have been fun.
Right, it was mostly through southeastern Minnesota. We did about 40 shows down there.
Okay, I'm going to take my bottle of oil home and see if it'll cure all of my pains and let you give us a little pitch and a little music. Here's Dr. Don.
Very well. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that you are all dying. That's right. From the moment you are born, you are dying. And the calendar is your executioner. Now that no man can change or hope to change. It is nature's law that there is no escape from the individual great finale on the mighty stage of life, where each of you are destined to play your farewell performance. Amen! Amen! Ponder well my words, ladies and gentlemen. Then ask yourself, is there a logical course to pursue? Of course there is. And that is why we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Watson was a good old man, he played his hardest toil. Watson had 2 daughters and a case of Wizard Oil. Where one gal had consumption, the other had gout. Where Watson had the answer that made him jump and shout. Hey, Wizard Oil, slip down the holler. Wizard Oil, try and make it holler. Wizard Oil, give me the start, I'll pay you back someday. Where Watson was a doctor for every town around. Dollars by the bushel to keep your body sound. Some folks had nostalgia, the dollars had the proof. Well, some folks didn't have nothing but still bought it from the truth. Hey, Wizard Oil, slip down and holler. Wizard Oil, try and make it holler. Wizard Oil, give me the slot, I'll pay you back someday. To that fiddle, woo-hoo! Wizard Oil. Whether you have scurvy, snake bite, or boil, dig right down and promptly by the Wizard Oil. Hey, Wizard Oil, slipping down the holler. Wizard Oil, try and make it holler. Wizard Oil, give me a slaughter, I'll pay you back someday. And I'll pay you back someday. It will chase your blues away.
Oh, all right. That is the Wizard Oil Medicine Show, and we want to thank you very much for being on Midday.
You realize that's the way they used to sell what they then called medicine years ago.
Yes, in fact, it says here on the bottle that it cures lame back, headache, neuralgia, toothache, earache, just about anything. The bottle's empty, unfortunately.
And the doldrums of the summer season as well. We will be back on Monday with Midday. We hope you'll join us at that time. Of course, we're going to be broadcasting throughout the weekend from here at the Minnesota State Fair as well. And there'll be someone from Channel 4 present anytime you want to drop by and visit through the rest of the run of the Minnesota State Fair. We're right at the bottom of the grandstand ramp. Incidentally, the medicine show is at Heritage Square, which is just west of the grandstand.
Okay, maybe they'd pick a few more notes for us, and we'll say goodbye. We'll see you next week, Monday, for Midday. Two familiar faces, and in fact, I have 2 people next to me who are actually dressed like Raggedy Ann and Andy. What is your name?
Connie Swenson.
Connie, and you look like you might be a Swenson, too. What's your name?
Wendy.
Wendy and Connie are part of 4-H, and I know that the 4-H is very big at state fair, as it is at any state fair. What is your particular project?
Clothing, child care, home improvement, foods.
I know this morning, Wendy, you gave a special presentation on toy safety, and holding the microphone here is a little puppet that I understand you made. Is this a good toy for a child to have?
Well, it's a nice toy for a child to play with, except for the eyes can be pulled off and swallowed. So if the eyes are safe, the rest of the toy will be too, and children enjoy playing with them.
Did you do a lot of research in preparing your project and your presentation for today?
Well, we've been researching toy safety for the past 3 years while we've been in the child care project in 4-H. So it wasn't all at once. We've been doing it for a long time.
How long have you been in 4-H then?
9 years.
Oh, that's a long time. How do you get involved in it?
Well, through the extension office. And well, we became involved by, my mom knew the 4-H leader, and she was a project leader one year.
Has it been a beneficial experience for you?
Yes, very much so.
Is there a time when you have to stop being a member of 4-H?
When you're 19 years old.
Oh, that's too bad. You know, all the toys that are with us today, are these all safe toys, or do some of them illustrate certain dangers?
Well, like the eyes are unsafe, or, you know, for some of the toys, or snaps or buttons, which can be easily pulled off, or some of them the stuffing isn't safe, because if the seam should open up, these small particles would come out, and a child could swallow them.
So these are things that parents should be looking out for when they buy a toy for their child, is that right?
Yes, it is.
What other things should they be aware of? What about plastic toys and things of that nature?
Mostly so they don't break, and especially that they don't give a toy to a child that's too young to play with it.
Do most toys, when you go to buy them, do they have a certain age on them to let a parent know?
Some of them do, but there are still ones that don't. It depends on the toy.
You must really like children then.
Yeah, I enjoy being with children.
Do you do babysitting or anything like that?
Yeah, I've done a lot of babysitting.
These puppets that you've made today are so cute. I think we really got to get a shot of them. I just love the eyes on that one. Are these going to become Christmas gifts for some lucky little child?
Uh-huh.
Although I heard you say you're thinking of keeping them for yourself.
I love stuffed toys, and I have my room full of them.
Well, they're just beautiful, and I want to thank the Swinson sisters for being on Midday and filling us in about toy safety. And we will be back, so please stay with us.
There are many people who live aboard these railroad cars as people involved with the world's largest midway, Royal American shows. But this particular railroad car is the home of the president and owner of Royal American Shows, C.J. Settlemeyer. Carl and Egley Settlemeyer live aboard this. How many months a year?
Well, about 6 months.
It's a beautifully comfortable place.
Well, it has every convenience of home.
It does indeed.
Air conditioning and cooking equipment, and 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, living room, dining room. What more could you ask?
Not too much. This is the very comfortable living room. We have Hansel here, who is guarding the door. Good guard dog, huh?
Oh, yes, he's a terrific watchman.
Okay. He's keeping an eye for us while we visit here. It's very roomy. Of course, a railroad car supplies more room than we're used to, perhaps in a motor home or some kind of a mobile home. You have a nice dining room here. Do you have visitors frequently while you're on the road?
Oh, yes, I cook every day, for Carl especially, and then I do have guests now and then, because I love cooking.
Well, I tell you what, the kitchen kind of shows that you love cooking. The kitchen is equipped as any kitchen in a nice home might be.
Yes, it is, and usually everybody congregates in there. I can't get rid of the people when I'm cooking. They're all in that kitchen, as in every other home. It's the same thing.
You've been traveling a good deal of your life, haven't you?
I was born in the circus business.
Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, many of you who have ever been to a circus will recognize the family name of Egley, because she was a Zucchini, one of the best-known circus names not only in the United States but perhaps in the world. Circuses differ a bit in Europe from what we see here, don't they?
Well, yes, they're smaller, of course. They have it's mostly a 1-ring circus, whereas here every circus is a 3-ring circus.
You have a soft spot in your heart for the Twin Cities, I understand, because you were first shot out of a cannon here?
Yes, that was my very first appearance here at the Shrine Circus in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
in the 40s.
And you were shot out of a cannon many, many times after that. You were just talking to my daughter about that, and she asked you, she's a good journalist, don't you think?
Oh, I think she asked very pertinent questions.
She asked if you weren't terrified that first time and perhaps the times after that. How does it feel to be shot out of a cannon?
Oh, it's a very exciting feeling, I'll tell you. It's not dull. And it's quite dangerous, of course, but there's always that challenge. And
you were trained as an acrobat and aerialist before you ever attempted anything like that.
Oh, yes, I did tumbling and while walking and flying trapeze and finally the cannon act.
Now, not too long ago, just a matter of months ago now, Carl Wallenda, a man with whom we had visited frequently and for whom we felt a great deal of affection, died. I understand he was a family friend of yours as well.
Oh, yes, I've known Carl since I was a little girl. He was a great performer. There's no question about it.
He held on and on and on. I'm sure it saddened you. Did it surprise you when he was killed?
No, because I had, you know, he had retired so many times, but you just couldn't keep him away from it. He said, Egley, I just have to do it. And I knew that someday he would go that way. He would have been walking the wire when he was 90 if he'd have been alive then.
It's interesting. People who start in this business want to stay in it. It looks to those of us on the outside as though it's such a rough business. You never have a permanent home. You're traveling. The people work so hard. We were here the other morning when you came in, and I guess you got in, what, 2, 3 in the morning, something like that?
Yes, in the middle of the night.
And it was 48 hours of constant work to get ready. Why do people want to stay with this business when it is such hard work and takes you away from home almost all of your life?
Well, it's the excitement of being in different places, meeting different people. We have many, many names right here on the show who at one time were very famous in the circus world.
Egley, you're a charming lady. It's been a great pleasure to visit with you. Thank you so much for inviting us into your home. Egley Zucchini Saddlemeyer, combining several very prominent names in this business. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Bill. It was a pleasure.
We are not going to let the rain dampen our spirits, and we have some terrific music for you. Vern Larson is the director of the Wing Swedish Singers. How many singers are in the group, Vern?
We have 38.
I know that you also keep busy not only directing music, but playing the role of principal at the high school in Red Wing as well.
That's right. We had our opening day today, and I had to be there until 11 o'clock this morning.
Well, we're glad to have you here now. Will the group be out here all during the state fair?
No, just today. We sang at Baldwin Hall this morning. Mrs. Oreen Benrud was our director this morning, and this afternoon we'll be singing at the Senior Citizens Building.
Okay, we're going to hear 2 songs from the group now. Here are the Red Wing Swedish Singers. Thank you very much, Vern.
In Solden, in Valdina, Anger
Some of the buttons, Cindy, say Swedes have more fun. I think maybe that's...
Well, they do today. In spite of the rain, they're out here singing for us.
That's right. The lady behind us, right behind us, has a button that says Jag Alskadig, which means I love you. I guess I don't pronounce it very well, but they said my Swedish background qualified me to sing with them, so I've been humming along with Elsa den der Hemma especially. Tomorrow we'll be back here at the Minnesota State Fair, dried out a bit from the rain of today. Actually, this rain is supposed to stop very shortly, so if you had planned to visit the State Fair a little later on in the day, you should be in good shape.
We are going to be talking about health-related segments tomorrow. We went out and filmed some of the various areas around the fair where you can have checkups and hearing tests and all sorts of things.
So join us at the fair, either on Channel 4 or in person at the bottom of the grandstand ramp. We'll see you tomorrow, As the World Turns, next on Channel 4.
Al Perez is one of the people with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency who is administering hearing tests, and this is really a great opportunity for people who come to the fair, isn't it, Al?
Yes, it is.
After the results of the tests come in, can people find out if they do have a hearing problem? Is there someone here who's qualified to tell them that?
Yes, there is a certified audiologist present, and that person will review the results and identify any problem areas.
Now, this booth here, which looks sort of like a refrigerator, is where the person sits, and what goes on in there?
Well, you place earphones over your ears just like you would at home if you were listening to stereo, and you will hear some sounds, and every time you hear it, you'll let us know that you heard it, and when you don't hear it, then we know that you haven't heard that, and then we'll determine an audiogram which shows your hearing.
Okay, I'm going to give it a try now, but before I do get in the booth, I want to mention that there is all sorts of other information available here in the booth, isn't there?
Yes, that's correct.
In fact, there's a Minnesota Pollution Control Agency coloring book that you might want to pick up for your kids as well, which looked kind of neat to me. Okay, I'm going to get in here. I have to put the earphones on once I get in?
I'll put them for you.
Oh, okay. And now that I'm getting my hearing checked, we're going to leave the State Exhibit Building for the Education Building, where Bill is talking about your eyes.
Here's a view that's perhaps familiar to many of you. I'm sure that almost everybody has had their eyesight tested at one time or another. The Minnesota Optometric Association, however, just kind of wants to remind you that it's a thing that you should do from time to time. Right, Marv?
Yeah, we thought it would be important to point out to people about 3 or 4 different things that are unique to vision and give them a chance to evaluate it for themselves.
Now, obviously, you're not conducting regular examinations here, but someone can take a look at that sign and see if things are not looking quite the way they should.
That's right, Bill. In fact, there's one that's strictly a demonstration of some of the tricks that vision can play on you, kind of a visual word game, if you will.
You know, something that often strikes many of us as unique is this one right behind us here, and perhaps the camera can... Marv, why don't you step on this side? Perhaps the camera can take a look at it. It's color blindness. You tell me color blindness is mostly a man's problem, is that right?
It's estimated that there are over 8 million men in the United States that have a color deficiency, and it's almost universally just men who do have a color deficiency.
Now, obviously, once again, you can't make the whole examination here, but you can get an idea if someone may have some problems.
A public awareness that there may be, and that they should probably consult somebody if they're having a problem.
All kinds of screening going on, and as a matter of fact, Cindy is right on the other side of the building doing a different kind of check.
Just another booth dealing with the health problems out here at the State Fair in the Education Building. The Twin Cities Diabetes Association, a chapter of the American Diabetes Association, has a quiz that you can take which sort of explodes the myths about diabetes. For example, one question is, diabetes can only be employed at desk jobs. Well, the answer to that, to me, obviously, is no, the right answer. They, of course, can hold many different jobs. Karen Koski is one of the medical technicians out here. I guess I got that one right, huh, Karen?
Right. Glad to hear you got it right.
I am too. You know, I think you have a lot of information out here that's great for people who are concerned about diabetes. Even if they're not, it's good to be more educated. What are you offering out here, Karen?
We're offering education, of course, any questions that you're interested in having answered. We also do blood tests for diabetes, a simple, free test. Takes a couple drops of your blood, a couple minutes of your time.
Okay, well, I have a minute of my time. Why don't you give me a blood test? Now, if I flinch here, I hope the camera stays steady while I flinch. I have trouble. I can never watch these things. I earlier filled out a card, which was my name and address, and she's taking the blood out of my finger, and then the card and the blood test will go back to the lab where it'll be tested, and Karen tells me that they'll notify you within a week if there is some abnormality, and otherwise you'll get your card back in a month if your blood is normal. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
That's correct. How many technicians do you have working out here?
We have 3 or 4 nearly all times during the fair. We're here from 10 o'clock until 7 o'clock in the evening.
So it's really a great thing to do. Even if you're not concerned that you might have diabetes, it's worth taking the test. She's putting it in there. They're doing a wonderful job out here.
Especially the high-risk groups, over 40, overweight, related to a diabetic.
They should definitely stop out and have a test. Okay, well, thank you very much, Karen Koski, for being on Midday, giving me a blood test, and I'll be anxious to hear the returns. Okay, we'll be back.
Dr. Gilbert Holloway is visiting us at the Minnesota State Fair, an old friend, born in the Twin City area, but you've lived in the West for much of your life, haven't you, Doctor?
All over the country, actually, and presently New Mexico, Bill and Cindy. Yes, my home is in Deming and Albuquerque.
I've been talking to some of these folks here, explaining to them that you have been involved with psychic phenomena, prophecy, things of that nature.
Yes, I have since I was a child, actually. I was born with a gift in this nature, and I've exercised. I've been 42 years in the ministry and traveled the United States, 23 years in radio, 18 years in television.
I know that you've done a lot of media work, Doctor. Do you prefer radio to television? Do you have a preference?
Well, yeah, it's just the radio. You get longer exposure usually. They're both very powerful, even 12, 15 minutes on CCO, but I do half an hour or so on radio the other day, very powerful.
But
I like them
in terms
both.
of the psychic experience, is one more helpful?
No, you know, the mind is like a radio, and yet I've got a TV inside also, because you see, I can see in the spirit, and I can sense in the spirit, so I carry my own radio and TV inside.
We're going to have you give some impressions to some people out here, but first, why don't you tell Cindy, you know, several years ago, you did a program with me. There was a young lady on that program. You told her she was going to be married in a certain period of time, and within that period of time, she and I were married, which is something we didn't know at the time you told us. Can you give Cindy an impression of some feelings you have?
Yes, I can. You know, Cindy is a very finely honed person. You're under a lot of discipline, and times, in fact, overworking. But she loves what she does, and I see this. And Cindy you're getting a very strong projection of feeling and emotion to the public. I don't know whether you're doing some dramatic acting, whatever this is, but I feel this intense emotion, and I see a lot of yellow and golden colors around her. And Cindy, this fall, in November, around the middle of the month, some kind of very special, how shall I say, breakthrough, something very pleasing to you is going to happen at that time. And again in the spring of next year, I'm in a prophetic mood today, and I sense this is Cindy. Cindy's a very affectionate person, has a lot of friends, and your whole friendship life, the last 6 weeks of this year is especially good. Those are impressions for you.
Oh, that's something to look forward to. I like that.
I tell you, I don't know how many of them he hit, but I heard a lot of familiar sounds there. How about some impressions of me, Dr. Holloway?
All right, very, very quickly. I know time is limited. Bill, I feel very good about your career. This marriage has been good for you. It's settled you down, stabilized you, even put a little weight on and so on. And I see this. I see something in your Saturday night show, some kind of unusual venture, something coming up this fall. I think in October that's going to be startling. I see you in a very competitive position, but I think you're going to do very well. And around the end of the year, the last week of this year, something good is going to happen in your television work.
How about that? Well, we're going to find out some more impressions for some people here at the fair. Just a moment. Don't go away. Couple of people from our audience here. First of all, what's your name?
Mike Roney.
And where are you from, Mike?
St. Paul.
St. Paul. Do you have a question for Dr. Holloway?
Yeah, I'd like to know, a friend of mine went to see The Exorcist about a year ago, and she said her sister was with her, and that night her sister's door, she locked all of her doors and windows, and something just made the door go open, and she's seen a dark shadow, just a shadow about 6 feet tall.
Mike, I can give a quick response to that. The Exorcist, of course, deals with a negative type of psychic phenomena. That is the influence of what the Bible calls unclean spirits, and it had a tremendous effect on a lot of people, including a lot of young people who are very suggestible, incidentally. And the girl that you mentioned, there probably was some kind of phenomenon in the home. That's not the better kind, you see. You're not working in the angelic kingdom there. You're working in the demonic kingdom.
See, this was in
Sonny, I
an
don't have
apartment.
time. That's all I can tell you about.
I guess that's... Thank you. Okay, Mike, you want to stand up? We want to have time for a couple of others. You want to come over here, too? Do you have a question for Dr. Holloway?
I certainly do. It's a little bit frivolous, but I thought I'd have you answer the question for my family, being everybody asks. I'm 32 years old. When am I going to get married?
That's a fair question. One half all people ask me that, you know.
Yeah.
What is your first name?
Leanne.
All right. This is a very loving girl. This girl keeps house very well. You're a good cook. You have all the qualities here. You had a disappointment when you were about 24 or 25. But if things go in divine order in your life, I see a very nice friendship developing in March and April next year. And if things go right before the end of next year, you either will be married or on your way into marriage as I see this. You're also expected to bear 2 children, health and conditions permitting, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Very good.
What about, did he hit it on the nose?
Yeah, well, about the 24 and 25, he sure did.
Okay, at that end? Okay. And
Pretty incredible.
So the rest of it sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, all right.
Thank you very much. We have a young lady here who would like to just have your impressions, Dr. Holloway. Your name is?
Brenda Spicer.
Brenda. All right.
Okay.
You know, this girl, Bill, and Cindy is very sensitive, and Cindy, she admires you, and when full grown could be like Cindy in some ways. I also hear music around you, honey, organ and piano music, develop your musical ability and a certain dramatic ability. And also, Bill, I hear poetry and lovely thought. This is a very idealistic girl, nice family background, and I feel her protected. You might think of becoming a nurse. It's possible, but more likely a teacher, and I'm Gilbert Holloway with you in the spirit.
How do you feel about that? Do you play a musical instrument? You do? Well, there you are.
I think she's just dumbfounded. Thank you for joining us.
When do you think I'll be married, Dr. Holloway?
Cindy, all right. Cindy, you're very hard. You have a lot of admirers and so on. But I'll tell you, I'll predict
You're right
this.
so far, Dr. Holloway.
Well, all right. I'll predict this. By the end of next year, I predict you will have found the man that you want to marry, and you would marry him probably in 1980. You could marry earlier, but I see you waiting. You're waiting. Your careers come first, but you will marry, and you're expected to bear 1 child.
How interesting. Dr. Holloway, how do you see this? I notice that when you are making these contacts, you close your eyes. Do you see it as in a vision, or do you see it in...
You see, I have the ability, and I've had it since I was a child right here in the Twin Cities. I can go into my superconscious mind at will. It's like some visual impressions, some of it's just like radio ideas. But I see them very clearly. I seize upon them, pronounce them, and they usually run between 80 and 100% in accuracy. No one is perfect in this field, but I run pretty close, usually, as I did with you, Bill.
You are lecturing in the Twin City area. Why don't you tell us where that is, Doctor?
Yeah, I'll be very glad. Yes, I'm at the Curtis Hotel in downtown Minneapolis. Tonight is a big special healing service. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night at 7:30. Next Saturday, Sunday, Monday at 2:30. I'm also counseling daily, and you can call my office right now or anytime today at 739-1649. And I invite you. By the way, there's no admission fee. Everyone's invited, including Cindy.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure that there are...
And my best bow, okay.
I'm sure that there are people of various inclinations about the kind of thing you do, wonder how authentic it is and so forth. Well, of course, you've just given them an invitation to come and discuss
Come and see. You bet. And I've been 42 years in this field, and my reputation stands pretty firm.
Dr. Gilbert Holloway with us at the Minnesota State Fair. We hope that you join us tomorrow. We have some other special...
Miss Minnesota, rather, is going to be with us.
And other special treats live from the Minnesota State Fair. Join us in person or right here on Channel 4.